A warm morning, a quiet harbor, and a cruise ship with a name that now feels painfully ironic, the Osain Hotel. Because for the next 117 days, that's exactly what it became. A floating hotel, a drifting city, a place where 42 strangers would learn what it means to be human when the world disappears around you. No one aboard could have imagined that the calm water under them was about to become their entire universe. 3 days after departure, somewhere between the Maldives and the open blue nothingness of the Indian Ocean, the heart of the ship went silent. No engines, no lights, no radio, no way home. The Osain Hotel died. And in the pitch-black quiet, the passengers woke up to a truth that would haunt them. They were no longer travelers, they were survivors. At first, there was panic, the kind that ripples through a ship like electricity. People shouting for crew members, alarms that didn't work, hallways lit only by emergency strips that flickered like candles. But denial fades quickly when the sun rises on a ship that isn't moving and the horizon is the same in every direction. The captain gathered everyone on the upper deck. His voice was steady, but the tremor beneath it was unmistakable. They'd lost all power. The GPS was frozen. The satellite antenna was gone. They were drifting, slowly, silently, into nothing. For the first time in their lives, the passengers felt how massive the ocean really is and how small a human being can be. In documentaries, we often talk about survival as if it's heroic. But what these 42 people faced wasn't a single dramatic moment. It was the slow erosion of certainty. The realization that the world wasn't coming to save them, not yet. And maybe, not at all. The first challenge wasn't food. The ship had enough dry goods to last weeks. The real enemy was heat. Without power, the ventilation systems died, and within hours the cabins turned into ovens. Thick, humid chambers where the air didn't move and sleep became impossible. People dragged mattresses onto the decks. They covered themselves with towels soaked in seawater. They learned the ocean breeze by name. And slowly, something unexpected began to happen. A hierarchy dissolved. Passengers and crew became equals. A retired school teacher began organizing daily tasks. A teenage girl became the ship's unofficial water scout, checking reserves and ration plans. A chef turned the empty dining hall into a communal kitchen lit only by sunrise. They were building a society, one built on the simple understanding that survival was impossible alone. By day 20, the ocean had begun carving its own rules into their lives. Saltwater rusted surfaces, barnacles grew along the hull, storms rolled over them like mountains of wind and rain. But the worst moment came on day 31. A shadow appeared on the horizon, a cargo ship, the first ship they'd seen since losing power. The passengers screamed, waved, lit makeshift flares with cooking alcohol. And the ship passed. It just kept going. A moving city that never knew another was calling out for its life. That night, no one spoke. The ocean felt larger than ever. But it's strange. Sometimes despair is the exact thing that hardens people. The next morning, they tried again. They repaired a radio using scavenged wiring from spa equipment. They built a rainwater collection system from broken umbrellas and food trays. They held nightly meetings, real, structured conversations, because cooperation was the only thing stronger than fear. And then, day 68, they spotted land. Or at least, they thought they did. A thin line on the horizon, shimmering, shifting, fading. An island? A reef? Or just the cruel mirage caused by heat and hope mixing in equal measure? It vanished an hour later. Some call that moment the breaking point. Others call it the beginning of acceptance. Because there's a difference between being lost and learning to live in the unknown. The truth is, humans are adaptable in ways we barely understand. They held birthday celebrations. They played card games by candlelight. They wrote letters they weren't sure they'd ever send. On day 92, 2 passengers who'd arrived as strangers held a small wedding ceremony on the upper deck. an act of defiance against the emptiness around them. But the ocean is patient, and sometimes mercy arrives slowly. On day 117, a faint pulse crackled through the makeshift radio, the coordinates of an Indonesian fishing vessel traveling nearby. The passengers didn't know it yet, but their long, drifting story was already ending. The rescue boat arrived at sunrise. What the fishermen saw wasn't a tourist vessel. It was a drifting world weathered by storms and sun, carrying people who had learned a truth most of us will never face: that civilization is fragile, that comfort is temporary, and that survival is not about strength, but about community. When the 42 passengers finally stepped onto land, many of them cried, not out of fear or exhaustion, but out of the overwhelming realization that solid ground could feel like a miracle. They had left as individuals. They returned as something else, a small society that once existed alone in a universe of water. And even now, years later, some of them say the same thing. The ocean didn't try to kill them. It simply forced them to see who they really were. Because sometimes the real story isn't how people survive, but how they learn to be human when the world becomes nothing but horizon.